Good evening. I would like to call our Board of Education meeting to order at 7 p.m. for November 19, 2025. I will be serving as the moderator this evening as we had elections on November 4th, and we will be electing our Board of Education officers tonight. Our first agenda item is the Pledge of Allegiance, so please stand. Into the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. If you can go on to the next slide, please. I would like to first welcome our new board members, Catherine Ayllón Pomo and Gary Fetzer. Welcome. The first order of business is the election of the board chair. I will entertain a motion for nominations.
I would like to move Lynn Ide as chair of the Board of Education.
Dr. Katina Caban-Owen made a motion to nominate Lynn Ide as the board chair. Does anyone second the motion?
Second.
Seconded by member Mark Doyle. Are there any additional nominations? Do we have any additional nominations? Last call for any additional nominations. Hearing no further nominations, I'll entertain a motion. The nominations are now closed.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Vice Chair by Board Member Brendan O'Neill and seconded by Katina. We will now take a vote on the motion on the floor to elect Lynn Ide as the board chair. All those in favor, please raise your hand. I have Katina, Mark Doyle, Mia, who's online, Catherine, and Gary Fetzer. Oh, and I'm sorry, and Brendan O'Neill. Any abstentions? All those opposed, raise your hand. Opposed by Dr. Mary Gallucci. Thank you. The motion to elect Lynn Ide as the board chair carries with 5 in favor and 1 opposed. Congratulations to Lynn Ide for being reelected as the board chair. At this time, I will turn the meeting over to Chair Lynn Ide.
Thank you very much. I will make some comments under board chair's report a little bit later, but I would now entertain a motion for vice chair of the Board of Education.
I move we nominate Brandon O'Neill for vice chair.
Motion made by Mark Doyle. Do I get a second?
Second.
A second on that. To nominate Brendan O'Neill as vice chair. Are there any further nominations? Are there any further nominations? Are there any further nominations? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to close the nominations.
So moved.
Motion made by Katina. Do I get a second on that from somebody?
Second.
Second from Mark. Now, would everybody in favor of the nominee on the floor, Brendan O'Neill, as vice chair, please indicate so by raising your hand. See, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Any Abstentions? 1. Any opposed? 1. The motion carries, and Brendan is elected as Vice Chair of the Board of Education. Now, our last nomination for this evening is for the Secretary of the Board, and I would entertain a motion for the Secretary position.
I move we nominate Katina Caban-Owen as our secretary.
Motion made by Brendan O'Neill for Katina Caban-Owen. Is there a second on that?
Second.
Second by, well, we're a tie between Catherine and Gary. The motion is second. I heard Catherine first, so motion seconded by Catherine. Are there any other nominations? Are there any other nominations? Last time, are there any other nominations? All those in favor of closing the nominations, please indicate by raising your hand. Now, okay. Opposed? Abstentions? Okay, all those in favor of the nominee for secretary that's on the floor, whose nomination is on the floor for Katina Caban-Owen, please indicate so by raising your hand. Is there any opposition? Okay. No abstentions. Okay, so that motion carries, and Katina Caban-Owen is now the Secretary of the Board of Education. Thank you, everybody. Oh, Mary?
Yeah, according to our bylaws, board members may explain their votes, and I would just like to say I'm doing that because of the poor functioning of the board over a certain period of time, including things like not answering board questions and marginalizing board members and not treating the board as an entity.
Thank you for your comments, Mary. Is there anybody else who would like to comment? Okay, so that item on the agenda is done with. Now, it is the board chair's responsibility to designate committee chairs for the board's standing committees, and also to assign members based on their desire to be on committees, to sit on committees. What I'd like to do this evening is just formally announce that we are keeping the chairs of all of the committees the same. Finance and Audit is going to be Mark Doyle. School Planning and Design is going to be Brendan O'Neill. Personnel is going to be Paula Haney. Curriculum is going to be Mary Gallucci, and Policy is Katina Caban-Owen. I will just say right now that I will finalize committee assignments after everybody on the board has gotten a chance to consider whether they want to make any changes to the committees that they've been sitting on, and particularly for new board members to have conversations and figure out what committees they would like to be on. We normally ask that every board member serve on at least 2 committees. So I'd like to get the committees finalized by our December meeting, so that when we start our new meeting schedule moving forward, we can have a full committee complement. I will say right now to the board members, as things stand, if I look at who is already on committees and or indicated interest to me, there are like 5 members at least on every committee who have volunteered to be on every committee, including the chairs, except for Policy, which only has 3, which makes it sort of hard for Policy Committee, because if one person is missing, or if, God forbid, 2 people are missing, it's really hard to have a meeting. So I'm just going to ask board members to think through whether or not they might like to switch a committee and/or add a committee. It's up to you, but you have a little bit of time to think about that. Thank you very much. Now we're on to approval of minutes, and I would entertain a motion to approve the minutes for the October 22nd, 2025 meeting.
So moved.
Motion made by Katina,
Second.
seconded by Brendan. Any further discussion? And of course, new board members, you would be abstaining on this vote because you weren't on the board at the time. All those in favor of the minutes, please indicate by raising your hand. Any opposed? No, everybody. Abstentions? Thank you very much. And then we have some minutes from the special meeting of the Board of Education Working Group working on the superintendent's evaluation form process and timeline. That's from November 3rd. I'd entertain a motion to approve those minutes.
So moved.
Motion by Katina. Do I get a second from somebody?
Second.
Second from Mark. Any discussion? All those in favor of the minutes, please indicate by raising your hand. Opposed? Abstentions? Okay, I don't know, like, I guess there are more abstentions than, what? There are more abstentions than people who voted, but that's because people either weren't on the board or weren't at that meeting, I would guess.
Yes, I will respectfully suggest that the minutes were sent to everybody, and there were only three members present,
Mhm.
and one absent by total internet problem. So it's just what the minutes are, what we send to the rest of the board, which are the timeline and also the form and that we have been working on. And special thanks to Mary for contributing a lot to that. Thank you.
We'll double check on whether or not we have to return to this for a different kind of, I'm just not sure under the rules how this stands with only a few people voting for it and the rest of the people abstaining. But we'll follow up on it. Thank you. Now we're on to public comment. Is there anybody who is here or online who would like to speak during public comment? Okay, seeing none or hearing nobody online speaking up, we'll move on to board chair's report. I want to thank you for your support. This is my last 2 years on this board. I'm not going to be running again, and I'm going to be looking for somebody who wants to take the reins. So please keep that in mind, and we can be working on that. I will just mention a few bits of business. One is all board members got an invitation to the holiday lunch for town employees and boards, which is on December 18th at noon at Town Hall. So that's an invitation to the board members and, the superintendent, and central office staff.
Would you repeat that, please? What date?
December 18th at noon at Town Hall. If you look through your email, you should have gotten something. If you didn't, I can get in touch with me. There is also the annual Thanksgiving lunch at Sweeney School this coming Tuesday, the 25th at noon, and all board members should have gotten an invitation to that. And Lauren did send out a reminder today or yesterday to folks, asking folks to let her know by the end of the day on Friday, if you were planning on attending that. That's a wonderful event for those of you who may not have gone. It's, you sit at the table with the kids and you enjoy a lovely meal. It's really fun. Many of the board members should have gotten, on Tuesday or Monday of this week, an email from Town Hall inviting us to a gathering with the other town boards and a review of the town charter and the responsibilities of the boards and budget and things like that for this Saturday, the 22nd. I was informed when I said to them that I thought that was very short notice to be asking people to give up a Saturday. They are rescheduling it. So those of you who may have been trying to figure out whether you wanted to go on the 22nd, it's being rescheduled. And I've asked them to share an agenda with us so that we can figure out who it makes sense for to go to this. So if it's very town board oriented, like town hall and the town budget and stuff like that, it may not be as helpful to all of us, but I just wanted to let you know. Also, CABE, the Connecticut Alliance of Boards of Education, requires all new board members to attend state-required training by state statute. You're required now to go to training within 1 year of being sworn in. We're looking into when the opportunities will be offered for board members, of course, and we will be sending board members to all of you to one of the training sessions, and I'm sure if any current board members want to go and get retrained, they can do that. In the meantime, I do recommend going to the Connecticut Alliance of Boards of Education or Association of Boards, it's CABE, their website, all board members, there's a online handbook there for all board members, and you can just download it or read it online. It's a good resource for board members. And I do also hope that we will be able to set up in the next, after Thanksgiving. Obviously, we're not going to be setting anything up between now and Thanksgiving, but we'll have a special board meeting with the superintendent and the working group that's been working on the superintendent evaluation process and form and whatever to work out the details of that process with the superintendent. There may be a meeting of the board alone, and then the superintendent joins us for part of the discussion. But I'm going to be looking out to you all in the next week or so to try to get something on our calendars. And that's it for now. Thank you. I'll turn it over to the superintendent.
Thank you, Chair Ide. On the referendum results, the Windham community had an opportunity to vote on the proposal to consolidate our elementary schools and build a new elementary. Unfortunately, as you're aware, the referendum failed. The board will at some point need to engage in a discussion about how we're going to be moving forward, whether we are re-engaging the community in this proposal or not. So more is to come. I would like to move on to our enrollment report. You have access to the enrollment report in your packet. You have two views, and this is from as of October 1st, 2025. And as we know, these numbers may change throughout the year. You have two views. One is by grade level, and one is by school. If you can go back to the one by grade level, please. Our overall enrollment has declined by about 95 students compared to this time in 2024, 2025. I'll give you some time to just look at the numbers.
If people have questions for the, board members have questions for the superintendent, just raise your hand and, or comments, just let me know. Catherine?
I just have a question about the middle school. So you
need to press your.
There we go. Okay. So at the middle school, from 24 to 25, you have one number, but now we have grade 5 in the 2025-26, numbers. So if you take out the 5th grade, what would those numbers be? So we have like a consistent view of what's happening at the middle school.
Can you repeat the question? I'm looking
So
at the-
from the middle school, there is a drastic increase from 2024 to 2025 because the
We
grade
added
5.
the fifth grade. Yes.
Yeah. So if you take out the grade 5, what would the population be for grade 6 through 8?
So you can see the numbers. I'm sorry? Oh, it does.
Can I?
It is my understanding that they have remained steady.
Is steady? Okay.
Yes.
Any other,
I'll
Katina?
get you the numbers, splitting the middle school versus the Barrows numbers.
And now, just noticing that you also provided the numbers by grade. So there are 254 students that are fifth graders. So if we do the math, then we can get exactly.
yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Any other comments or questions? This is relevant information for us as a board as we move forward with planning and thinking about how we're managing our schools moving forward over the years. Gary?
Yeah, I just wonder if you can explain, there seems to be a very big improvement among kindergarten, and then in the first grade, it goes down dramatically. It's being new. What does that do to?
It may have to do with the change in the legislation. There was a pocket of students who were not allowed to enroll in kindergarten, which then created an increase the following year. And so we'll see it level off, but you'll see that number continue to travel when they go from first to second to third, but everything else we anticipate will level off.
Okay, thank you.
That was the cutoff of September 1st. You had to be 5 years old by September 1st, and
Yep,
that created a big fluctuation over a 1-year period.
Yes, the first year that it was in effect, we saw a decrease in the number of students who were able to enroll in kindergarten. Then it was followed by an increase in the students who then were coming into kindergarten, and now it should level off.
Great, thank you.
But you will continue to see that bubble as they move through the education system in Windham.
Okay.
Anything else? Okay, Dr. Gomero, back to you.
And we can move on to the next slide, which is by enrollment by school. And as we know, there was a change of fifth grade moving to the middle school. So of course, we saw an increase in the enrollment there.
Anything more
And,
for Dr. Gomero? Go ahead.
Catherine, to your question, if you were looking at previous years,
I see it now.
you
Yeah,
see
thank
that
you.
it has remained
Yeah.
steady. Okay, thank you. You can move on to the next slide. This is actually, I'd love to switch to celebrating our students and our staff. We are extremely excited to share that Windham Middle School has been able to demonstrate improvement for the past 3 years consecutively. And as a result, they have been removed from the Comprehensive Support and Improvement List from the Connecticut State Department of Education, which means that they're no longer considered a turnaround school. We have here members of the Windham Middle School team who will come up and address the board. But first of all, congratulations.
Um, Good evening and congratulations to new board members and also those re-elected and assigned to new positions. We're excited to have you on board. So good evening, Board Chair Lynn Ide, members of the board, Superintendent Dr. Romero, Windham Public School families, parents, and community members. It is an honor to be sharing this special achievement of Windham Middle School's exit from the state's turnaround category after 3 consecutive years of steady improvement in the Next Generation Accountability Index. Last year Accountability Index score represents the school's highest performance in the last 10 years, starting 3 years ago from the lowest Accountability Index score in the school's history. Ahora en español. Buenas noches, Presidenta de la Junta, Lynn Ide, miembros de la Junta, Superintendente doctora Gomero, familias de la Escuela Pública de Windham, padres y miembros de la comunidad. Es un honor celebrar la salida de la Escuela Intermedia de Windham de la categoría de estatal del turnaround, después de 3 años consecutivos de mejora constante en el índice de rendición de cuentas de nueva generación. El puntaje del índice del año pasado representa el desempeño más alto de la escuela en los últimos 10 años, un logro extraordinario, especialmente considerando que hace apenas 3 años estábamos en el punto más bajo de la historia de la escuela. This achievement reflects the collective commitment of the entire Windham Middle School community. Progress of this scale is only possible when every stakeholder contributes, including our cafeteria staff, custodians, campus safety officers, admin assistants, nurses, IT, student support services, paraprofessionals, teachers, service providers, administrators, parents, guardians, community partners, administrators, and central office leadership. I have like four pages, so get comfy. Este hito refleja el compromiso colectivo de toda la comunidad de Windham Middle School. Un progreso de esta magnitud solo es posible cuando cada miembro aporta nuestro personal de cafetería y limpieza, oficiales de seguridad, asistentes administrativos, enfermeras, personal de tecnología, servicio de apoyo estudiantil para profesionales, maestros, proveedores de servicios, administradores, padres, tutores, socios comunitarios y el liderazgo de la oficina central. Cada uno de ustedes ha desempeñado un papel esencial en este éxito. I vividly remember 3 years ago on a snowy July in Argentina, while celebrating my mom's 90th birthday, preparing the transformational plan I will be presenting a few weeks later as a new appointed executive principal supervising both North Windham and Windham Middle Schools. I recall presenting the plan to the Board of Education with confidence, but also with the understanding that its success would depend on the dedication and collaboration of the Windham Middle School community. Recuerdo vívidamente que hace 3 años, en un nevado julio en Argentina, mientras celebrábamos el cumpleaños de mi mamá de 90 años, trabajaba en el plan de transformación que presentaría unas semanas después, como recién nombrado director ejecutivo, supervisando tanto North Windham como Windham Middle School. Presenté aquel plan a la Junta con confianza, pero con la clara comprensión de que su éxito dependería de la dedicación y colaboración de la comunidad escolar de Windham Middle School. Fast forward to today, it is clear that the Windham Middle School family exceeded all expectations. This accomplishment belongs to the entire school community. I could not be more proud of our students, staff, families, and partners. I will ask all of those in Windham Middle School community joining us today in this auditorium to please stand up. Le voy a invitar a todos de Windham Middle School que están acá, si se pueden parar, por favor. Don't be shy. I know there are a lot of you. Stand up. Oh my gosh, they're so shy. Congratulations. Hoy está claro que la familia de Windham School ha superado todas las expectativas. Este logro les pertenece a ustedes. No podría sentirme más orgulloso de nuestros estudiantes, nuestro personal, nuestras familias y nuestros aliados comunitarios. While this milestone is significant, the work continues. This is only the beginning of our long-term improvement cycle. When strong academic growth translates into expanded opportunities for students, we are fulfilling our purpose as educators, preparing every child for a brighter future. Si bien este hito significativo, nuestro trabajo no termina aquí. Este es solo el comienzo de nuestro ciclo de mejora a largo plazo. Cuando el sólido crecimiento académico se traduce en oportunidades para nuestros estudiantes, estamos cumpliendo nuestro propósito como educadores: preparar a cada niño para un futuro más brillante. Thank you all for your continued support. Muchas gracias por su apoyo. Buenas noches. Good night.
Thank you, and congratulations again on this remarkable achievement.
And in case people, oh, Mary, go ahead.
I just had a question to ask if there's a financial impact due to this, because although it's, an issue about being on those lists, they also often come with some money from the state.
I have inquired with Dr. Jenkins from the Connecticut State Department of Education, and she informed me that they will not have that information as of right now, but they will let us know if in fact there will be an impact for funding for the 26-27 school year. And they will be visiting us in early December.
That is one of the first things we thought of was, how will this impact our budgeting going forward, and impact programs and things we're able to do at Windham Middle School. So it's a very, very good thing, though. And I don't know whether you introduced yourself when you spoke, and some people watching on video and whatever may not have known who it was who was speaking to them. But Carlos, why don't you come up and to introduce yourself officially?
Sorry, I thought I was famous, but not. It seems like not. Okay. My name is Carlos de la Barrera. I'm principal at Windham Middle School principal. Thank you.
Thank you. And I'll continue with you, Dr. Gamero.
Okay, next slide, please. I'm really excited to be asking members of Phoenix Academy to join us this evening. As you are aware, the 3 priorities this school year that we're focusing on include ensuring that students have a sense of belonging, that they feel heard, seen, loved, so that they can achieve in school. We're also, of course, focusing on attendance and ensuring that our students have access to grade level content and standards-driven instruction. Every time I visit Phoenix Academy, it just fills my heart with joy because I see students just engaging in the work, engaging in learning, and staff members who do everything that is possible to continue to engage our students. So I wanted to invite as our first demonstration of what bringing our priorities to life look like by inviting members of the Phoenix Academy here tonight. So I'll have Mr. Matt Harnett, our principal at Phoenix Academy, start us off with information about the Academy.
Great, thank you. As she said, my name is Matt Harnett. I'm the very proud principal of the Windham Phoenix Academy. I've been there for 3 years now, and I couldn't be more proud and just more excited for the work we do. And it's been great as Dr. Gamero has joined our district and come. She has really jumped into our school and understands kind of what happens and how it works. And as she said, going to work every day I've been doing this for well over 30 years now, and I've been a high school principal, I've been a middle school principal, and I constantly tell people, this is the greatest job I've ever had. And the reason being is you're going to meet them in a minute. The kids in that building are some of the most special and unique individuals that I've ever had the pleasure of working with. They come to us sometimes lacking hope. And the greatest thing that we sometimes can give them is that hope and that belief in themselves that they can do this and they can be successful because they come through the door sometimes not thinking that. It is a special place. Sometimes I very kiddingly refer to it as my island, and I call it the happiest place on earth. It's like Disney World. And if you come and you visit and you kind of watch and you see, you understand very quickly what's going on. It's a special place. I want to point out that, the entire staff came here tonight to support these kids and show up. All the classroom teachers, my social worker, and even the social worker intern that we have this year came along. And that's the kind of place that it is. When kids come, there are kids for life. And I tell them that all the time. It's like, once you step in that building, you are my kid. And sometimes in the past, I've had people who get very upset with me and they're like, what do you mean you refer to them as your kids? They're the students. It's like, no, you're my kid. And that has a different meaning. Yes, you are a student in my building and we have certain expectations for that, but you're my kid, which means you're my kid forever. And we're going to do whatever we got to do to help you get to where you need to be. And sometimes that's just getting them their diploma. But once they figure out really how easy it is for them to get their diploma, which is something they didn't think they could do in the past, then we start talking about post-grad plans. What does life look like after your diploma? And for them, all of a sudden the world opens and it becomes infinite possibilities. And it's special because you see the light go on. And, as Dr. Gamero was talking, we talk about attendance. And we had a conversation one day because I cringe every time she sends out the attendance data, because at the bottom of the list is the Phoenix Academy, and our numbers compared to everybody else in the district look awful. And you have to remember that when our kids show up at our doorstep, most of them are already labeled chronically absent from school. And we start tracking them from the day they show up on our door. And we just look for improvement. We look for them to do better than what they were doing before. And I can stand here and very confidently say to you, we've seen a 30% increase in our daily average attendance from last year to this year. These kids are coming to school, they're participating in their own education, and they're getting re-engaged with all the possibilities that they can do. And it's exciting to watch. We had 3, and one of my students didn't make it here tonight because he had some transportation issues, which was unfortunate because he was very excited and he had helped and worked with the English teacher today and working on some things to say. But I do have 2 students, and they're going to need to stand up here with each other because they don't want to stand up here by themselves. So come on up. I have Vanelli Colon and Leisha Torres with me, who are going to say a few things about what makes Phoenix Academy special for them and what they've been able to get out of it.
Hello, my name is Leisha Ramos Rivera. I am a junior at Phoenix Academy. When I was at Windham High, I was constantly distracted by all the noise and groups in the hallways. This year, I transferred to the Phoenix Academy and I immediately saw the environment is different. There is less noise, fewer students, and fewer distractions, which allow me to concentrate on what truly matters, whether it's sitting down one-on-one talking to a teacher or a friend or learning a new assignment in the classroom. The smaller class sizes have played a huge role in my school life. Without the crowded hallways and fuller classrooms, I have been able to make up credits I had previously not earned at the high school. Thank you to the ones that helped me grow, focus, and find clearer paths forward. These positive changes have all come from transferring from Windham High School to Windham Phoenix Academy.
Hello, my name is Vanelli Colon, and I am a student at Phoenix Academy.
There you go.
Okay. I'll mix it up. Good evening. I'm here to share with you about my experience at the Phoenix Academy. The reason why I chose to return back to the Phoenix Academy was to catch up on my credits, allowing me to graduate in June 2026 with my senior class. This school has changed me in the ways I never expected, such as helping me grow my confidence and see the positive version of myself. At Windham High, it was hard for me to focus at times. At the high school, there were bigger size classes bringing more distractions around. At Phoenix, the class sizes are smaller, along with staff to student ratio allowing me to be more successful. At the Phoenix Academy, we are a tight group, all sharing common goals to graduate and become our best future selves. The teachers here go the extra mile for us to help us stay on course. And lastly, thank you to Mr. Harnett for emailing me back while he was on his vacation. It must have been hard to do that from the golf course, and when I learned, I'll carry that forever.
Those kids put a smile on my face every day. It is a joy to work with them, and I'm very proud. And please, I extend an invitation to every single one of you any day. Reach out to me. Let me know when you would like to come and visit. It is a different place, and it is unique. And the kids make it that way, and so do the staff that I work with every day. They've taken a lot of time and they've invested a lot of hard work into it. And we have to take a different approach with these kids because the things that we've discovered in talking with them and working with them, one size does not fit all. You know, there are kids who show up and they're ready to learn and they plug in and they figured out how the game works. And for these guys, it's just taken them a little bit longer. And once they get going, there's nothing they can't do. And our kids are being very successful and they're achieving stuff they never even thought was possible for themselves. And just to see those lights go on and watch them go, in the last 2 years, we've had 24 students graduate. 6 the first year that I was there, 18 last year, and this year now we have another at least 16 tracking towards graduation. And almost every single kid in the building beyond that has gotten back on track with their cohort to do what they got to do and get to where they need to be. And we actually even have a few kids that are slightly ahead of where they need to be. It's special. It really is. And I thank you for your support, and I hope it continues and we can keep doing what we're doing.
Yeah, hold on a second. Some people have questions.
Okay.
Okay. Gary, don't forget to press the mic.
How big is your senior class now?
Well, my senior class is part of Windham High School. So, I mean, right now, I mean, we have, I believe, 18 seniors, and I'm counting on about 15 of them, I think, are going to make it this year to graduate in June of 26. We have a couple kids out of cohort, and I'd say I think about 12 of those kids are in their cohort and catching back up. I've got a few students we got to work on to get them back on track and get them going, but there's some other issues there.
Katina.
I'm going to say thank you. Thank you to all the staff that is here, to the students, and thank you for inspiring me one more time to be part of Windham Public Schools. And you have heard me say before, in Windham, they are all our children. And I hope each and every one of the schools has that big spirit that you're showing tonight. And I'm sure they do. I have been visiting all of them. So thank you so much for caring for each human being that you have in your hands. They are miracles, and so are you. Thank you.
As the returning board members know, a couple years ago, each board member chose a school to be sort of a ambassador or liaison to. Now that we have a transition on the board, we'll have to re-up on who might be assigned to what schools. But I've had the pleasure of being assigned to Phoenix Academy, and as a graduate of an alternative high school myself, I just almost get chills when I go in to visit at Phoenix Academy. It's just extraordinary. And I'm really glad you made the invitation to everybody else on the board if they want to arrange with you, not just to drop in, but arrange with you a time to go visit, because it is really interesting to tour a school that is doing things in the way that you all are doing, and the staff. And it's just a teeny little staff. Look at this. This is the staff. Thank you for everything that you do, and the social workers and everybody else.
If you want to add more staff, we could talk about a few things. So
We do have a zero budget.
you brought it up.
Yeah. But I just want to encourage folks to go see the place because a lot of people ask me about it, and there's a lot of misconception out there about what this school does with children and students in our community. And I think it's worth all of us knowing
Yep.
how to talk about it publicly to people.
I think what's interesting, and I do encourage you to come, and if you want to come, I want you to sit and talk to the students. And as Chairman Ide was saying, I mean, you know, there is some negativity out there in the community where people assume this is a school for bad kids. Talk to my kids. But at the same time, too, the greatest ambassadors I have are the two students who quickly ran out the door. They go out into the community and they're talking to their friends and they're talking to their families, and those families are talking to each other, and they're spreading the good word. The first year I was in that building, we had 13 students in the program. The next year it went up to 40, and we're at 42 right now. That's how much it grows. And that's how quickly word spread about it. We don't have enough room. And I tell people all the time, my phone rings every day with a parent, or as Vanelli was saying, I get an email or a text message from a kid who says, can I please come? And I don't have enough room for all of them. And I get kind of yelled at by my staff because I'm always like, okay, we're gonna have a new kid starting tomorrow, because I can't say no. Because, you know, these are kids who aren't going to school, they're not engaged, and we want to get them back on track. And so we take them in and we try to plug them back in, and we try to get them and, you know, get them back on track and get them back towards the high school. But again, like I said, my greatest ambassadors are my kids who are out in the community spreading the good word about what we're doing, because they get very upset when people say it's a school for bad kids, and they argue with you and they'll tell you, no, it's not. And this is why I'm there. And this is what I'm doing. And those are the people you need to talk to. The kids who are there every single day doing what they got to do, because they're my greatest advocates. And I call them my greatest sales force in the world. Almost too good, because they make my phone ring, you know. So, but it's interesting to watch, and it's interesting to hear, because I mean, the positivity comes from the kids. Sometimes the negativity comes from the adults. And it's really interesting to see that at times. But we're working on it, and word is spreading, and we're changing it, and we're doing a good job with it. Yeah.
Anything you want to say, Dr. Camaro?
Yeah, I know that it's a small staff, but they're a mighty staff. I have been there plenty of times, and I know that the way they engage with the students is something that, you know, it is what we want for every student in Windham Public Schools to experience. So I want to thank you again for everything that you do, and thank you to Principal Hurnett for your work. Thank you for being our first school to demonstrate what bringing our priorities to life looks like. I want to let the board know that we will continue to invite all of our schools so that they can share with you all of the amazing things that are happening in our schools. So at every board meeting, we will have a school representing what is it that it's happening that is linked to our priorities. So thank you, and
you.
you'll have a great night.
And also thank you to the middle school for your success too. It is monumental what has been achieved there. And so lots of good things to celebrate this evening. Thank you, everybody. Thanks.
Yes, I want to make sure that at every meeting, we're celebrating the greatness in our district. So thank you for being here. And I hope that we continue to have this much participation every board meeting.
Okay, thank you. And if you don't want to stay for the rest of the meeting, we certainly understand. So, yeah, thanks. Right. So now we're on to committee reports, and first report is from personnel, and because Paula is not with us today, she's attending a family funeral. She asked Kimberly Beck to give the report from the committee. Thanks.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. I am Kimberly Beck. I'm the Director of Human Resources. I am reporting on Paula's behalf this evening. I'd first like to welcome our new board members. I'd also like to thank Paula publicly for her leadership of the Personnel Committee and working alongside me when I started in February of this year. In addition, I'd like to thank Katina and Mark and Mary for your participation in our meetings over the last few months. I am providing an update on the last two meetings that we had, the first on September 29th and the other on October 27th. Both meetings included updates on staffing as well as vacancies. At our last meeting, it was reported that since July 1st, we've hired and onboarded 74 total people. We had 10 more in process, and 46 people had ended their service in the Windham Public Schools. We do continue to have openings across the organization in places that are historically hard to fill, predominantly in our specialized programs. We also shared information about those that are leaving the Windham Public Schools and reasons for that are known, whether it be retirement, personal reasons, new employment, or otherwise. Going forward, we're going to work diligently on gaining more granular data related to those end-of-service reasons based on a new and enhanced way of doing an end-of-service process. At the September meeting, we shared information about the visiting international teachers that are here on J-1 visas. We highlighted features of the programs as well as what we are able to do as a result of their employment in the district. This includes, but is not limited to, providing equitable programming that is research-based in dual language and bilingual education, as well as 50 shortage area positions that are filled in math, science, ESOL, world language, technology, and bilingual education. At the October meeting, we spotlighted the Human Resources Department and the commitment to our district and the Windham community. We shared elements of our work that takes place both at the school level as well as in the town. Lastly, we provided an update on contract negotiations. As of the October meeting, we had begun executing the Teamsters Local 493 contract for our custodians, retroactively effective July 1st, 2025 through June 30th, 2029. We will, in this year, be negotiating with the Windham Federation of Educational Personnel, the Windham Cafeteria Employees Association, and the Windham Crossing Guards. We anticipate our planning meetings to begin in January with what's called the WFEP, as well as in probably March for our cafeteria employees, and then the crossing guards in late April. That is the update.
Does anybody have any comments or questions for Kimberly? Okay, thank you very much. Now we're on to curriculum. Mary?
Yes, we met November 4th and we discussed the 5-year curriculum plan. Neil Weathers introduced the topic by noting that new state requirements as of July 2026 for districts, they would need to post on their website curricular goals and objectives. A 5-year plan would entail a formalized process. In the first year, there would be planning. The second year, articulation and development. The years 3 and 4 would be implementation and monitoring. And then in year 5 would be an evaluation, looking, getting information, and strengthening weaknesses. And each one of those steps or each year is described in a little more detail in these minutes, which you can read on the website unless you have specific questions. Mr. Weathers provided a sort of an example of a schedule, how it would look in this district. There were some considerations about the sizes of departments and grades, pre-K curriculum, the accrediting body, and core courses being prioritized. And some of the questions from the board included those regarding the professional development related to curriculum, the role of coaches, and the funding concerns, of course, because of the staffing requirements that we need to execute our curriculum, and also the support for the curriculum.
Thank you, Mary. Are there any questions, comments? Appreciate your report. And now we're on to policy. Katina.
Yes, our policy committee is active as usual. We met on November 10th, and we approved the minutes from the prior meeting, and two policies were brought up for discussion. The first one is policy 6146.11, which is called grade weighing class ranking. That was a discussion of the current weighing policy and the possible consideration to make future revisions on that policy. So that's continued in other meetings, in future meetings. Then we discussed policy 5117.11, and is about the lottery. And as usual, we are updating the updated policies, and this was updated last on 2023. So was some minor updates. For example, application will be informed if they are selected via email only, and the applicant who are on the wait list and who are not offered a seat must reapply on the lottery the following year. Please note that you have that policy on your packet tonight for a possible vote. We will be meeting then now in December, and our meeting was over at 6:15.
Thank you, Katina. Are there any questions or comments? Mary?
Yes, in September or possibly at some point, I asked that we look at the gift policy. There are examples of other districts which include a lot of caveats to make sure that children cannot be stripped of gifts that are given to the district. It also looks at the equity and the fact that gifts are made to the district, and there cannot be certain designations and constraints put on them.
Thank you, Mary. Dr. Gomero, if you can please take note of that policy to be brought up to the committee at some point in our agenda in the near future, I would be appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions?
I
Okay.
do have a question. I just want to clarify, is the request to look at our policy on gifts and possibly revise it? Is that the
If
request?
needed, yes, we will look at it.
There are some longer ones for Greenwich and Madison, and they are very clear because we don't want, for example, things inappropriate to be offered to us, nor do we want to get rid of things that we have.
And of course, we will consult as usual with what is the model policy and the requirements of the state.
Yeah, Greenwich has one. It's written by the same law firm.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And then we will revise that. Thank you.
The other issue that we're not rushing into because it would need lots of stakeholder input and input from the district, but one other thing that's been brought up is the uniform
Yes,
policy.
and of course,
Or
we
dress
did not,
code
yeah,
policy.
the dress code, and we did not talk about that as I'm reporting on the policy committee meeting of November 10th, but it will be discussed in the future as many other of the policies that still need to be revised. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, now we're on to school planning and design. Brendan?
Thank you. School Planning and Design met back on the 10th as well. Mr. Harris provided us some updates on various things around the district, including issues and work on the heating systems at both Sweeney and Natchog. We had a discussion about North Windham and some roof leaks. There was discussion about the fact that there was an open CIP project for replacement of that roof that was kind of put on hold as we were going through the consolidation referendum, and it's something we need to start thinking about moving forward again depending on what our next steps are going to be with the consolidation. He also provided updates on electrical work done at the middle school and continuing work at the high school to finish out the renovated new construction project, including the surge suppression for the outlying buildings around the athletic fields. He also brought to us some preliminary information about some collaborative projects the town is looking into regarding additional solar panels and electric vehicle charging stations at Barrows, the middle school and the high school, possibly also replacing the cogens at the middle school with something more reliable and more efficient. That's all very preliminary at this point. He's going to be providing more information as the partner Titan Energy puts that together. But the idea here is to reduce our energy cost with no upfront capital costs. So more to come on that. Afterwards, we discussed possible capital improvement projects for 2026, 2027, especially given the referendum results. We're looking at possibly replacing the boilers at Natchog and Sweeney schools. Again, looking at the North Windham roof again. At North Windham, also looking at replacing windows with energy efficient windows, and then also trying to finish up the quotes for the work to do the athletic fields at the middle school and the track at the middle school. There's some CIP money for that already, but likely we would need another 500,000 to $1 million to complete that project as it should be done.
Thank you. Are there any questions for Brendan? Comments? Yeah, as Brendan referred to, a lot of things were on hold pending the referendum vote. The vote on the elementary school consolidation project. Now, as we figure out how we might move forward, that will impact capital projects at our schools. Thanks. Now we're on to you, Mark.
I've forgotten my minutes, so I can't give you the details of what we discussed. I'll make sure the minutes are emailed out to folks. I can give you my abbreviated version, which was we discussed money and we discussed our need for the money, and we'll continue that discussion. The one thing I do know is we have approved transfers for $67,915 that we're recommending to the board approve tonight. And then coming up next will be a budget update, so we'll get more information on the budget. Sorry.
Any questions or comments, Mary?
Has there been anything about the $160,000?
I will be reporting on that.
Yeah, that's part of the budget report. Anything else? Okay, we'll move on then to the discussion items, and the first item is the budget update.
Everyone has the year-to-date report in their packets. I know it's difficult to see on the slide, but you all have a copy. There are a few things that I want to highlight tonight. One, our Chief Finance Officer, Mr. Ray Dolphin, is currently at the Board of Finance meeting requesting the $161,000 from the Board of Finance so that we're able to fund field trips and sports in the spring. And so we will have more information as to whether or not they will vote tonight or if they will actually vote at their next meeting. Something that I also want to highlight is that if you take a look at the major objects in the 100 lines, we're currently, looks like we're running at a negative available balance of 520,000. So we were looking into what that number means and compared it to where we were last year at this time. And we're in a very similar space comparing to last year. We had a negative balance of 415,000. And we anticipate that some of the funding, as you all know, this is a snapshot in time, and we're waiting for funds from a variety of grants that come throughout the year. Some are dispersed in December, some are dispersed in January. And so we are anticipating $477,000 in funding being applied to the certified salaries once we receive the Title I grant funding. We also anticipate $62,000 in funding being applied also to certified salaries once the Medicaid anticipated funding is allocated to the district. And we anticipate as well $100,000 in funding being applied to the non-certified salaries once the funds again are allocated from our grant sources. We also made some projections the interim team was building the budget for this school year, which included some attrition, and that will continue to monitor throughout the year. And it depends on whether or not we're able to fill all of our positions. So that amount will vary as we go through the school year. So we'll continue to monitor and report at our next committee meeting. I also want to draw your attention to, if you move on to the next slide, please. I want to draw to your attention to our tuition lines, which are showing $240,000 more spent than we did at this point last year. And this is due to a change in the process that is required now by the state, where the payment occurs in full versus in prorated, which was past practice. So that's why we're seeing an increase in that number for this year. And we'll continue to monitor it as well. Now pause for any questions or comments.
Gary?
I'm just wondering, it has, I'm just wondering if someone has talked to the budgetary people to make sure that the grants are coming through.
We engage in that discussion almost on a daily basis. We're constantly tracking the funds that are coming in, how are we utilizing it for, of course, the majority of our budget is dedicated to salaries and benefits. So that's a line item that we're constantly tracking. That's why I wanted to ensure that individuals understand that when you pull a report on a specific day, it is a snapshot of one day. There may be money that is coming in the next day, transfers that are being made. And so it is important for us to continue that discussion on a regular basis.
Thank you. Anything else for Dr. Gamero? Okay. We're keeping on top of it. There's a lot of moving pieces, and we'll hear more monthly, pretty much, at our meetings about all of this. Not to mention the Finance and Audit Committee discusses things in a lot more detail. Thank you. Now we're on to the proposed board meeting schedule for 2026. And Dr. Gamero, I was wondering whether you could walk us through the three options that you've presented to the board, that you're presenting to the board. And just for context, we must take action on this tonight. And if we don't, we're going to have to schedule a special board meeting of some sort before the 6th of December to finalize our budget for 2026, because we are actually required to set our board schedule at least 30 days before we have our first meeting in 2026. And our first meeting in 2026 will be happening the first week in January. So that is why you may remember from last year, and the new board members, this is new for you. We have to set our schedule and send it off to town hall so that our schedule's set for the year. And if we deviate from the schedule, then the meetings are special meetings. And that's how it works. We can always change dates and set other meeting dates, but then those become special meetings. So Dr. Gamero and the team have been taking a look at this and have some recommendations for us.
Thank you. You have three proposed drafts. The first one that you're looking at, it mirrors what our current practice is, which includes having committee meetings on Mondays, Tuesdays, sometimes on Wednesdays, and having 2 board meetings a month, which usually occur on the second and fourth Wednesday of the month. You can see the cadence of the meetings and the time of the meetings. Some of them are in person and some of them are virtual and some are hybrid. So we're maintaining what our current practice is in terms of the days when we're holding the meetings, the times when we're holding the committee meetings, and how often we have them throughout the month. The second and third version are options. If you can move on to the second one. Something that we wanted to ensure is that we improve the efficiency of how we're holding the meetings. Some of us, including myself and many members of my cabinet, enjoy and actually want to be part of all, if not most, if not all of the committee meetings, which becomes very difficult when we have meetings sometimes on Mondays, on Tuesdays, on Wednesdays, and it's sometimes very difficult as there are other competing activities that are happening in our district. So you will see that the proposed draft 2 and 3 include for all of the meetings to take place on Wednesdays. And that will allow us to do a few things. Number one, to plan ahead, and so that individuals know that you can set aside your Wednesdays as the late day. Not for us, of course, as the cabinet, because we enjoy attending all of the events that are happening throughout the district. But it's easier for us to plan ahead if we have one designated day for both board meetings as well as committee meetings. We also want to ensure that we are going deeper, so going for quality rather than quantity. And so we heard from multiple board members that there were some meetings that didn't necessarily have to happen every month. And so, for instance, the curriculum committee as well as the personnel committee meeting would be happening on the same day. However, they will alternate. All of the other meetings are maintaining once a month. Again, on the first version, on draft 2, policy was only happening every other month. And after hearing from some of our board members, draft number 3 includes some revisions. So if you go to draft 3, can you show the calendar, please? There you go. So draft 3 includes our audit and finance meeting on the second Wednesday of the month rather than on the first Wednesday of the month. And this again is after hearing feedback from our board members. Mark Doyle shared that often it was difficult to share up-to-date budget information if it was on the first Wednesday of the month because the finance department didn't necessarily have the information and we would be reporting a month behind. So we moved that to the second Wednesday of the month. And as you can see, we are recommending 1 board meeting a month. In that manner, we are able to report on all of the committees on that board meeting. And in the event that we need to add an additional board meeting, we could do a special meeting on any of the Wednesdays that have been identified. And I'll stop here for any questions.
Yeah, so on the agenda, it's posted as board and committee, but we sort of, in the presentation, have blended both together. So it's fine with me if board members want to talk about both and/or both things at the same time. So anybody have any thoughts? Gary or Mary? Go ahead, Mary.
Oh, Well, my first thought is that, there's some very significant changes, and to get this on the day we're supposed to vote for it. In the past, I have mentioned and said that it's not really possible to make a decision of a significant import for the board, getting the information, yet it was in the packet, and I had questions, but they can't, it's a public meeting, so I have to wait to mention them at the public meeting. I would say that, there are a lot of issues confronting the board, and we heard from the community that many people don't have enough information about, for example, the elementary school plan. We have heard that our budgets are not clear enough, or, there are issues there. And I don't think dropping the meetings down for the full board is a good idea at this point. We could do that in the summer. I looked at several districts in the area, and very few have once a month. There are some, of course. We can cherry pick and go find the ones that have once a month meetings. However, for me, we do need to be more efficient in the meetings, but we need to be focused on the things that are crucial, which include the finances, include the transparency with the community about the schools, the state of the schools, and what we think is the best for the children, which clearly was not a message that got through. I also do think we have many new members, especially in the top administration, and dropping down to one full board meeting a month is not a good plan in my view. I will also say that I am, every superintendent is going to have a slightly different approach, but I think that it is not necessary to go to every subcommittee meeting for the top administration. So that I certainly don't expect that, but I do. The full board meetings are the ones that are very critical. And you can plan your time because we get the calendar, we all have to plan around the calendar that we get a year in advance.
Gary, you had your hand up?
Just a quick question. All the other meetings are at 5:30, but the Board of Ed is at 7. Is there a reason for that?
There are some days when there are two meetings happening, so one would be from 5:30 to 6:30 and the other one from 6:30 to 7:30, and then the board meetings have always been at 7.
Some of it has to do with people's schedules, and especially people who work full-time and commute. It's been hard traditionally for board members to consistently be here in the building earlier than 7 p.m. Of course, if people want to discuss a change in the time for the board meetings, we can certainly do that. The committee meetings are virtual, and some people find it easier because then they could sit at a desk someplace and go to the meeting. That's historically been what the reason has been. Mostly having to do with people's work and family and commute issues. Anybody else? Brendan? Or I thought you had your hand up. Sorry. Mark?
Yeah, I think the time also has more to do with the public's ability to attend our meetings and be consistent with the other boards that meet at 7. But it's more convenient for the general public once to get the kids and have their dinner, then they can either, in the past, come here in person or see it. So I think the 7 o'clock is a good time primarily for that reason, as well as the workers. But
Catherine?
I just feel like for your first year here, Dr. Gomero, I want to support what your wishes are to put every meeting on a Wednesday. If, the administrators want to also have a consistent day, it makes sense to me. A lot of other places also, like other committees, they tend to pick a day of the week and have a consistent day of the week. So I can see how that might feel like it's more consistent and something that's more convenient to plan around. Even though we might have our calendar in front of us, we will know that, okay, Wednesday is our night. So I just want to support, the change. If that is something that the new superintendent feels like will help her in her success at our schools.
Katina?
Life is overwhelming, and I think that having the consistency of Wednesdays is a brilliant idea. I like draft number 3 because we still have quite a few of the policies to be reviewed, so I would like to meet every month. Also, considering that the Board of Education can always call a special meeting for that evening, if necessary, at 7 o'clock, or canceling, or, instead of one of the meetings on Wednesday. So I think having one day instead of 20,000 days a month is very good, especially that will increase the participation not only of the committee members, but maybe other Board of Education members to attend the meetings and learn more about that particular issue. Thank you.
Mary?
Yeah, calling the special meetings whenever completely defeats the purpose of having the one day that you're always know that you're on for. And I would like to say in the past that there have been many, many subcommittee meetings changed at the last minute, canceled, or if you look back at the minutes, they lasted for 15 minutes. So clearly there was not a need to be meeting that for that committee. So I think that the public meetings should be twice a month, except in the summer. The ideas of commutes, we all choose where we live, and we live in town, most of us. So I just feel that also the timing of this gives me a lot of trouble. And also, we've just got a new board here, and people taking on officer roles and then saying, but actually, we want to come here less. So it's, and we have not convinced the public. We are, in many respects, losing the trust of the public, and now we're saying we're not going to be coming here as often, and that we haven't been doing the job, which is true. We can see where there have been lapses. So,
Mary, are you suggesting amending the option of having one full board meeting a month to something different? Like, are you suggesting going back to option 1, or?
I thought we were
saying-
talking about all the options.
We are talking about it, but are you suggesting something? You're suggesting we have 2 full board meetings a month. That's what you would like to see.
Yeah, I'm saying the option 1, the one that is close to what we've had. The subcommittees to me have not been, utilized well because of all the switching at the last minute, and some are 15 minutes. So I think going to bi-monthly for many of those subcommittees is fine.
Okay, thank you. Is there anybody else on the board, or Dr. Gamero, is there anything you want to say? Anybody else on the board? Did I see your hand, Catherine?
Yeah, I still feel like, the quality over quantity is very important. I understand that it seems like we might not be coming here, and it might seem like we're less transparent, or we're communicating less to the public, but I think it's the way we're communicating to the public that has to be changed. I don't think meeting more is going to really make a change in how the public is participating or how we're reaching out. I think the way in which we reach out to the public has to be changed, not the quantity of our meetings.
Thank you. Anybody else? Mary?
Yeah, I do appreciate that comment. But public outreach is not actually the main task of the board itself. So the board is about policy and it's about, planning for the schools. So those are different things. And I do think, and the meeting here, that whether public attend all the meetings or not, the fact that we are doing the work is important. The outreach, I mentioned that just because of the fact that we're losing the trust, but that is also because we have not been doing our job.
Anybody else have anything to say? We're not voting on it now. We'll be voting on it under action items. Were you going to say something, Dr. Camaro? Mark?
Yeah, I have some reservations about the board meeting once a month. I'm willing to try it, but my major reservation is the finance committee really needs to meet the second or third Wednesday of the month. The first Wednesday becomes useless because we will have no information. If Ray has information there, it was always a busy time in the office for them to close out, and we could never get accurate. We were always a month or so behind on our information. So I think the finance committee on our which plan we have needs to be the second or preferably the third Wednesday of the month.
Just to that point, if we had the finance, do we feel that having the finance committee the second Wednesday of the month will get the numbers we need? I'm looking over there too. Because when we get together to set the final dates, we can make during action items, we could make motions to change these things, Mark. And I want clarity on
Yep.
when it is most helpful to have the finance and audit committee scheduled. And we have to make sure that the finance and audit committee meets enough ahead of time of the regular board meeting for that information to be transmitted and in the board packets properly. So, do you have any thoughts you want to share with us? Go ahead. Yeah. And make sure you identify yourself for the record for people who are watching.
I am Ray Dolphin, Associate Director of Finance. You named it initially, is that the time in between the Audit and Finance Committee and making sure that all that information is communicated and digested in a timely way so that the board can then take action. That's something that, obviously you guys are going to make that decision, but I think that you may have trouble with that. So the timing of the Audit and Finance meeting is something that you want to think about strategically, but it's just that me and Mr. Doyle, this was something that I was going to talk to you a little bit offline at that time, was what information we're going to be communicating with the board, because from my perspective, I just want to make sure that the information is accurate, completely accurate and up to date, but it's not, completely accurate. But in order for it to be accurate, it's probably going to be best for it to be 1 month delayed. And that's a conversation that I was planning on having with, with us via that email and things of that nature, because we don't want to rush that information and make sure that we avoid any errors, because as to Ms. Gallucci referred to, in order to build that public trust, we want to make sure that everything we put out there is as accurate as possible. So we want to take our time with it. So we don't want to be rushed with that information just because we're trying to fit in particular on a particular calendar day. But obviously, whatever time you guys want us to meet, we'll be there. But that's going to be the things to consider.
Thank you. Does that help you in considering?
And also to
what
Ms. Hyde and Mr. Doyle. Neil and I just came from the Board of Finance, and they did decide to move their meeting to the second Tuesday. The second Wednesday, excuse me, as a result to try to accommodate, yes, correct. So.
Any further? Katina, and then I know Dr. Gamero said she wanted to say something. Katina, go ahead.
So, just so I'm not confused, would the second Wednesday be appropriate for finance and audit, Mark? Yes, you're saying yes, Mark?
sorry.
Second Wednesday, it says second Wednesday of the month would be appropriate?
I would think so, but I'll have
Okay.
more, discussion with
Thank you.
Ray.
That's in option 3. That one is, yeah, okay. Dr. Gamero, did you want to say something?
I just wanted to mention that if within draft 3, we have options. For instance, the only Wednesday when we would be having 2 meetings back to back would be the first Wednesday of the month, when we have the school planning and design and the policy committees. The other Wednesdays, the second Wednesday of the month, the third Wednesday of the month, the fourth Wednesday of the month, we can still hold additional meetings at 7 p.m. in the event that we need to add those. So I want us to think about not necessarily getting rid of option 3, because there's still options, and we have flexibility within option 3. It would allow us to still have all of the meetings on Wednesdays. It would allow us to be planning ahead. What is it that we want to accomplish? In our current practice is that the work is really done during the committee meetings. That is why, for instance, Katina requested for the meetings for the policy committee to be held every month, because there are a huge number of policies that we need to take a look at. And the work really happens at the meetings, at the committee meetings, and then we are reporting and voting during the board meetings. And I would like for us to also continue to celebrate what we're doing in our schools, which goes back to the comment about how is it that we're communicating with our community? What is it that we're choosing to communicate with our community? And really being very thoughtful and very intentional with what we do with 1 meeting, 2 meetings, 3 meetings. But we really need to be very intentional about what we're putting out there, the decisions that we're making, the conversations that we're having, the discourse that we're having, that it's critical for us to be able to move forward as a school community. So I just want us to pause and really think of the opportunities that we still have within draft number 3.
Thank you. Mary?
Well, that does add a new spin because, so now that more work is being transferred onto the committees, I don't think once every other month for curriculum is enough. So now all the subcommittees are going to have to meet more frequently. So, I mean, it's hard to take this all in like this. And also in the past, we did have every school come and it ballooned up into an hour of student performances, and all board members can attend school events as we wish. The board meeting itself really, getting into having 1 hour science fair equivalent here, I don't think is really the reason for a board meeting.
Okay, any further discussion on this? People will.
I have one more.
Yeah,
Um,
Catherine.
So, is it possible to just put in another, Board of Ed, like, meeting in, like, one of these days and hold that meeting as when students come and visit us, so that it's not it's kind of a lighter type of meeting that might not take up the entire 3 hours or take very long, so that it is kind of like, I don't know, just allocated differently so that maybe the heavy meetings are on the 3rd Wednesday and the lighter meetings are, let's say, back to back on a first Wednesday or a 4th Wednesday when we have a 5:30 committee meeting.
That is a possibility that somebody could make a motion on when we have action items, but we're not entertaining motions now, Catherine. Does anybody have any reaction to what Catherine suggested, adding in another meeting? Whether or not they're light or heavy, I don't know whether I'd want to characterize meetings as that, because there's important business that needs to get done, and it may not always happen on the Wednesday that we're thinking is a light meeting. Katina?
That's a great idea, but we don't have enough schools for the whole calendar year to update on, on a consecutive month.
Yeah.
So I would respectfully suggest that we keep it as is, and if we vote on, I'm decided I'm gonna vote on propose the draft number 3, and we call special meetings as needed.
Well, we're not making decisions now. We're just hearing from folks. Gary?
I think there's a danger if we're going to hold special meetings to hear students that if we don't have enough board members coming, it's going to look really bad for the students. Also, I mean, I truly appreciated the 5 minutes that I heard the students here. It doesn't have to be that long, but I thought it was really inspiring.
Thanks. And of course, it's a special meeting. If we don't have a quorum, Gary, we can't, there's no meeting. Yeah, but, okay. Mary?
Yeah, and did Mr. Dolphin just say that the Board of Finance has switched their meeting so that they could accommodate what they thought our meeting schedule was, although I didn't know what our meeting schedule was. So this is getting very confusing. And I did like hearing the students, but I do want to say that in the past, it just got into extremely long presentations.
I reached out to Tyler Griffin yesterday to ask him when he thought they would be scheduling the Board of Finance meetings so that if we needed to make a decision tonight, we would know when their meetings were going to be. It wasn't coordinating. It was just asking him when. And I just heard now that it was the 2nd. But that's it. Any further discussion before we move on to the next item on our agenda? Okay. So I would entertain a motion to go into executive session for discussion and possible action concerning pending workers' compensation claim. But it says discussion only, so shouldn't the motion say for discussion, period? And possible action? Yeah, but I don't understand why it says discussion only then after it says discussion and possible action. I know that, Mary, but I'm just wondering why it says discussion and possible action then. Right, right. Okay. Okay, it's misleading, that's all. I just want to be clear that we're not going to take action, but there's no action item on the agenda.
We can add one if we choose to.
We can, because it's not a special meeting. But it's confusing, that's all.
Okay.
At any rate, I'll entertain a motion, as stated here by our attorney, for discussion and possible action concerning pending workers' compensation claim case. And we'll be going into executive session, but I need a motion first.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Brendan, seconded by Katina. Any discussion? All those in favor of going into executive session, please indicate by raising your hand. Any opposed? Abstentions? So for those of you who are sitting here in the audience, you're welcome to sit here and wait till we come back. I don't know how long we'll be in executive session, but we will be leaving the room for that. Thank you. And we'll come back to take care of the action items.
Yeah. Turn my mic.
No one invited any of us. But you. No, I didn't even know there was something else. Vandal from the deposit from the city that they had questioned the library that's not. Voters really. I think they already voted. They had questions they wanted to ask us about. But I should say something. I knew there was a meeting last week. But it wasn't on the agenda. Yes, I don't worry, we'll figure it out one day.
Okay, okay. Folks, we need to move to come out of executive session. We just come out? Okay, so we came out at like 8:54, like 2 minutes ago. And now we're back into the meeting. And before we move on to action items, Mark has asked if I could add an agenda item to hear a report on what happened at the Board of Finance meeting tonight. Would somebody make a motion to do that?
So move.
Okay. Motion made by Mark, seconded by Mary. Any discussion? All those in favor, please indicate by raising your hand. Okay. So Ray, you want to come up, or Neil? I don't know who wants to report.
Hello again. The Board of Finance, as we told you earlier, they met this evening and they did approve the $161,000 for us to spend. The way that they will fund it is that they gave us permission to underfund our portion of the workman's comp. Because as you know, with the town, the Board of Ed, the fire department, other different groups are putting into that particular fund. So they allowed for us, in order to make up for the $161,000, for us to have permission to underfund our portion by that $161,000 in our budget. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay. So now we're on to action items. Thank you for attending that meeting on our behalf tonight. I would entertain a motion. I would entertain a motion to add item 11 AA, or whatever it would be, about for first action item, a motion to authorize our attorney to move forward with a settlement on the workers' comp claim. Is that language okay? Okay. I would entertain a motion to that effect. Who would like to make that motion? What?
I'll make the motion, as you said, to authorize the board to go into negotiations.
Well,
settlement.
our attorney.
Our attorney.
What?
Second.
Okay. Motion's made by Gary, seconded by Katina. Any further discussion? All those in favor of the motion on the floor, please indicate by raising your hand. Abstentions? 1. Thank you. Thank you. Now I would entertain a vote on the board. I would entertain action on these two combined, the board
Can we
and
just-
committee meeting days. What?
We just add it, not take the actual action.
Okay.
What?
What? Oh, we added it, but then we didn't vote on it. Okay, sorry. It's been a long night. Okay, all those in favor of the motion that was added to the agenda to authorize our attorney to move forward to settle a workers' comp claim?
I move we move forward with that.
Yeah,
Motion made by
second.
Brenda and seconded by Katina.
It's a long
Any
night.
further discussion? All those in favor, please indicate by raising your hand. Thanks. Now, how would we like to deal with this? Would you want to do it combined or?
Sure. Can I make a motion?
Yes, go ahead.
I would like
Katina.
to make a motion to take action A and B be voted together. Do we have to vote for that motion first, Lynn? Okay. Anybody
Do I get a
second, please,
second
so
on
we
that
can
motion?
take both days?
Motion made by Katina to combine A and B together in one action, seconded by Mark. All those in favor of doing that, please indicate by raising your, of the motion that's on the floor. Any opposed? Okay.
Mhm.
So now I would entertain a motion on draft to adopt proposed draft 1, 2, or 3, or some combination of, or some different version.
I'll
Would
make
like
a
to make a motion?
motion to accept proposal draft number 3 for the Board of Education meetings and committee meetings for the coming year.
Second.
Motion made by Katina, seconded by Brendan. Is there any further discussion? Mary?
Yeah, I would just like to say that there is not enough time to consider these calendars.
Okay, any other discussion? All those in favor of the motion on the floor, please indicate by raising your hand. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you very much, everybody, on that. Now we have a vote on the purchase of a food services. You turned your mic off.
Just a quick question on, does that mean we have subcommittee meetings starting when?
After the first of the year.
Okay.
This is a calendar for 2026. Okay? So the existing meeting schedule for 2025, which is on our calendars for 2025, exists. Okay? Stands as is, just to avoid any confusion. Okay, I would entertain a motion to vote on the purchase of a food services vehicle.
I move we approve the purchase.
Brendan made the motion. Anybody second it?
Second.
Seconded by Mark. Discussion. This was something that was talked about and approved, but Mark, it was talked about, you want to talk about, we talked about the Finance and Audit Committee.
Yes, I'm sorry. That's one of those ones that slipped my mind. Yes, we talked about this, and that the entire amount is coming from the food budget. Nothing's coming from our operational budget because our food services have their own self budget. So this won't affect any of our operational budgets.
Any questions on that? Okay, all those in favor of the motion on the floor, please indicate by raising your hand. Opposed? Abstentions? One abstention. I would entertain a motion to approve the Alliance grant application.
So moved.
Motion made by Mark. Seconded by Katina. Any further discussion on that? Questions? Okay, all those in favor, please indicate by raising your hand. Opposed? Abstentions? One abstention. Thank you. And I would entertain a motion to vote on the McKinney-Vento continuation year grant.
So moved.
Motion made by Katina. Do I get a
Second.
seconded by Brendan? Any discussion, questions? All those in favor, please indicate by raising your hand. Opposed? Abstentions? Thank you. One abstention. Now we're on to a vote on policy 5117.11, students magnet schools enrollment outside of attendance districts, updated language to mirror current practices and current legislation.
So moved.
Motion made by Katina,
Second.
seconded by Brendan. Any discussion, questions? Okay, all those in favor, please indicate by raising your hand. Abstentions? Opposed? Carrie, did you vote? Oh, you voted in favor. Okay. Great. And then finally, I would entertain a motion to approve a budget transfer of how many dollars?
67,915.
Who would like to make that?
So moved.
Motion made by Mark,
Second.
seconded by Catherine. Any discussion? All those in favor, please indicate by raising your hand. Okay, now we're on to public comment. Is there anybody who would like to speak during public comment? Okay, I would enter a motion to adjourn at 9:07 PM.
I move, we move.
Meeting adjourned. Thank you.